7, paragraph page 739. Last headword was accustomed, newer type of lesson, or be used to something. Okay, so let's start from where we ended. Ready?
Okay.
Okay, here we go. Let's start with Newark. Okay, repeat. Be used to something.
Be used to something.
Get used to something.
Get used to something.
Very good. At first.
At first.
Accustomed.
Ac- accustomed.
Very good. Okay, listen. The words at first means in or at the beginning, at first. Accustomed is an adjective. It means familiar with something. Instead of saying I played football regularly at school, we can use the auxiliary used to and say I used to play football at school. The sentence expresses a habit or repeated action in the past time already. However, another a completely different used to in English in the sentence he's lived on that busy street for many years, so he is used to the traffic noise. The word used is an adjective followed by the preposition to. If we say that we are used to something, it means that it is not strange or uncomfortable for us anymore because we have experience of it. If a person from a countryside goes to live in a city, at first they feel uncomfortable. They are not used to the traffic noises. Then they slowly become accustomed to the noise or get used to the noise. Finally, one day they say, I am used to the traffic noise because now they are comfortable with it. Okay, let's practice. What does it mean if we say that we are used to something? What does it mean if we say that we are used to something? If we say
If we
that
say
we are used to something,
that we are used to something,
it means that
it means
it
that
is not strange,
it is not
strange
strange
or uncomfortable
or uncomfortable
for us anymore
or us anymore
because we have experience
because we have experience
of it.
in, of it.
Give me an example. Give me an example, please. He's lived.
His his
He's
live
like he has lived.
he has lived
Okay, contraction. He's
his
lived
his live
on that busy street
on that busy street
for many years.
for many years.
So he
So he
is
is
used
used to
to the traffic noise.
the traffic noise.
Very good. Name a region of the world where people aren't used to seeing snow. Name a region of the world where people aren't used to seeing snow. The Arab region,
Uh, They they are
the Arab or like the
the
Saudi
Arab
Arabia
はい、the Saudi Arabia
is a region of the world
is origin the
is a region
is a region
of the world
of the world
where people
where people
aren't used to
aren't
seeing
used
snow.
to seeing snow.
Very good. When a family moves to a new town, do you think it's easier for the children to get used to everything than it is for the parents? When a family moved to the new town, do you think it's easier for the children to get used to everything than it is for the parents? Yes or no? When
Yes,
a family
when the family
moves to a new town,
moves to a new town,
I think it's easier
I think it's
for
easier
the children
for the
to
children
get used to everything
to get used to everything
than it is for the parents.
than it is for the parents.
Very good. Okay, next, listen. Okay, notice that because the word to is a preposition, we put the gerund after the expression to be used to, not the infinitive. For example, I am getting used to waking up early. I am used to studying with the Callan method. Okay, let's practice. Why do we put the gerund after the expression to be used to? Why do we put the gerund after the expression to be used to? We put the gerund
We put the gerund
after the expression
after the expression
to be used to
To be used to,
because the word to
because the word to
is a preposition.
is a preposition.
Give me an example. Give me an example, please. At first,
At
it
first,
was difficult,
it was difficult,
but now I'm
but
used to
now I'm used to
getting up early.
getting up early.
Very good. Are you used to studying with the Callan method? Are you used to studying with the Callan method? Yes or no? I'm
Yes,
used to
I'm used to
studying with the
studying
Callan
with
method.
the Callan method.
Very good. Do you think you could ever get used to living in a country where your language wasn't spoken? Do you think you could ever get used to living in a country where your language wasn't spoken? Yes or no?
Wasn't spoken.
Yeah, in a country
No,
that doesn't speak Japanese. Okay, I don't think
I don't think
I could ever used to
I could ever used to
get used to
uh, get used to
living in a country
living in a country
where my language
where my language
wasn't spoken.
wasn't spoken.
Very good. Okay, next repeat. Give up.
Keep up
Chase.
pace.
Now, letter C. Chase.
Chase.
Very good. Okay. Give up or give up is a phrasal verb. It means to stop having, stop doing, or stop using something. Chase is a verb. It means trying to catch a person or criminal. For example, a police officer might decide to give up chasing a criminal in the street if the criminal was running too fast to catch. Let's practice. Why might a police officer decide to give up chasing a criminal in the street? Why might a police officer decide to give up chasing a criminal in the street? A police officer
A police officer
might decide
might
to
decide
give up chasing
to give up
a
chasing
criminal in the street
a criminal in the street
if the criminal was running
if the criminal
too
was
fast
running
to catch.
too fast cat
To catch.
to catch.
Very good. Okay, next repeat. Slim.
Slim.
Very good. Okay, slim is an adjective which means to become thin in an attractive way. For example, of these three athletes, a long distance runner, a rugby player, and a swimmer, I'd expect a long distance runner to be the slimmest. Let's practice. Which of these three athletes would you expect to be the slimmest? A long distance runner, a rugby player, or a swimmer? Which of these three athletes would you expect to be the slimmest? A long distance runner, a rugby player, or a swimmer? Of those three
Of those,
athletes,
of those three athletes,
a long distance runner,
a long distance runner,
a rugby player,
a rugby player,
and a swimmer,
and a swimmer,
I'd expect
I'd
a
expect
long distance runner
a long distance
to
runner
be the slimmest.
to be the slimmest.
Slimmest. Very good. Like slim, slimmer, slimmest. Very good.
Slimmest. はい。
Okay, next repeat. Recover.
Recover.
File.
File.
Very good. Okay, listen. The word recover is a verb. It means to return to normal health. For example, it usually takes me a week to recover completely after catching a cold. The word file is a noun. For example, computer files. If I deleted a computer file by accident, I wouldn't know how to recover it. Let's practice. How long does it usually take you to recover completely after catching a cold? How long does it usually
How
take you to
long?
recover completely after catching a cold? It usually takes
It
me
usually takes me
about
about 3 days
to recover completely
to recover completely
after catching a cold.
after catching a cold.
Wait, if you deleted a computer file by accident, would you know how to recover it? If you deleted a computer file by accident, would you know how to recover it? Yes or no?
Yes,
If I deleted
if I
a
deleted
computer file
a computer
by
file
accident,
by accident,
I'd know how to
I'd,
recover it.
I don't know how to recover it.
Very good. Next, repeat. Network.
Network.
Log on.
Log on.
Log in.
Log in.
Password.
Password.
Very good. Okay, listen. The word network is a noun. It means a system of lines, wires, etc. that are connected to each other. For example, wireless network, rail network, road network, etc. Log in is a phrasal verb and a password is a noun. For example, we need to log in or log on our Skype to start our class. We need a Skype name and a password to log in and have our class. Let's practice. Do we usually need to enter a password to log on to a wireless network? Do we usually need to enter a password to log on to a wireless network? Yes, we
Yes.
usually need
We usually need
to enter a password
to enter a
to
password
log on
to log on
to a wireless network.
to
A wireless network.
our to
To
wireless
to a wireless network.
to our wireless network.
Very good. Okay. Which do you think would help your country more, developing the rail network or developing the road network? Which do you think would help your country more, developing the rail network or developing the road network? I think
I
developing
think developing
the,
the mm,
like, let's say, road network
road network
would help my country
would help
more.
my country more.
Very good. Next, repeat. Run a business.
Run a business,
Very good. Etc.
etc.
Very good. Okay, listen. To run a business means to operate a business. For example, I don't think I could run a large factory or even run a small coffee shop. Okay, so let's practice. Do you think you could run a large factory or don't you think you could even run a small coffee shop? Do you think you could run a large factory or don't you think you could even run a small coffee shop? I think
I think
I could run
I could
a
run
large factory.
a large factory,
Very good. Next, repeat work.
work,
Literature.
li- lito,
One more.
literature,
Literature.
literature,
Very good. One more.
literature,
Literature.
literature.
Very good. Okay, listen. The word work is a noun. It means something created as a result of effort. For example, there aren't any original works of art hanging up in my home. Literature is a noun. It means written works such as poems, plays, and novels that are considered to be very good and to have lasting importance. For example, the name of a famous work of English literature is Romeo and Juliet by William Shakespeare. Let's practice. Are there any original works of art hanging up in your home? Are there any original works of art hanging up in your home? Yes or no?
No,
There aren't
there aren't
any original
any original
works of art
works of art
hanging up in my
hang-
home.
hanging up in my home.
Very good. Name me a famous work of English literature. Name me a famous work of English literature,
Famous.
please. The name
The name
of a famous
of a
work
famous
of English
work of
literature
English literature
is Romeo and Juliet.
is Romeo and Juliet.
Very good. Next, repeat weapon.
Weapon,
Attack.
attack.
Very good. Okay, listen. The word weapon is a noun. Weapon is something such as a gun, knife, club, or bomb that is used for fighting or attacking someone, or for defending yourself when someone is attacking you. The word attack is a verb. It means to hurt or damage something or someone using physical violence. For example, soldier uses weapon to attack others or defend against attack from others. The USA is a country where the average person can buy weapons, including guns, just by going to a shop. Let's practice. What do soldiers use weapons for? What do soldiers use weapons for? Soldiers use weapons
Soldiers use
to
weapons
attack others
to attack
or
others
defend against,
or defend against
attack from others.
attack from others.
Very good. Name a country where the average person can buy weapons, including guns, just by going to a shop. Name a country where the average person can buy weapons, including guns, just by going to a shop. USA is
USA
a country
is a country
where the average person
where the average
can
person
buy weapons,
can buy weapons,
including guns,
including guns,
just by going to a shop.
just just by going to a shop.
Very good. Okay, now let's have relative clauses.
はい。
One more.
relative
Relative
clause.
clauses.
relative clauses.
Very good. Okay, so we have already learned a lot about relative clauses, but here are a few more things that we should know about relative clauses. Okay, so repeat what.
What?
Very good, like the question word what. So we use the relative pronoun what instead of which or that. So we use what when we don't mention the thing that the relative clause describes, when we don't mention the main thing. For example, instead of saying she told the waiter the food that she wanted, we can say she told the waiter what she wanted. Okay, so just not saying the food. Okay, let's practice. When do we use the relative pronoun that? When do we use the relative pronoun that? We use
We use
relative pronoun what
rel- relative pronoun what
when we don't mention
when we don't
the
mention
thing
the thing
that the relative clause
that the relative clause
describes. Give me
describes.
an example. Give me an example, please. He told the waiter
He told the
what
waiter
she wanted.
what she wanted.
Like when you were a child, did you always like what you were given for your birthday? When you were a child, did you always like what you were given for your birthday? Yes or no?
Yes,
When I was a child,
when I was a
I
child,
always like
I always like
what I was given
what I was
for
given
my birthday.
for my birthday.
Have you already chosen what you're going to eat this evening? Have you already chosen what you're going to eat this evening? Yes or no?
No,
I haven't chosen
I haven't
what
chosen
I'm going to eat
what I'm going to eat
this evening yet.
this evening yet.
It's too early. Very good. Okay, so that was the relative pronoun what. Now let's learn about the relative pronoun whom.
Whom?
Whom. Very good. Okay. With formal English, when we're speaking formal English, some people prefer to use the relative pronoun whom instead of who. However, this is only possible when the relative pronoun is not the subject of the verb that follows. So in the sentence, we need to contact the customer who she took the payment from. The word who is the subject of the verb took. In the sentence, we cannot use whom. However, in this sentence, we need to contact the customer from who she took the payment. The word who is not the subject of the verb took. She is the subject, and who is the object in this case. Some people prefer to use the word whom instead of who, and we say we need to contact the customer from whom she took the payment. In informal English, however, the word whom is never used in casual English. In very formal English, we sometimes have a preposition at the beginning of a relative clause, and in this case, we cannot follow the preposition with the word who. We must use whom instead. For example, I don't know the nationality of all the students with whom I am studying at the moment. We need to contact the customer from whom she took the payment because there's a preposition with, from, where. Okay, remember, however, that in normal spoken English, we put the preposition at the end and say we need to contact the customer who she took the payment from. Okay, so let's practice. When do prefer, or when do some people prefer to use the relative pronoun whom instead of who? When do some people prefer to use the relative pronoun whom instead of who? Some people prefer
Some people
to
prefer
use the
to use
relative pronoun
the
whom
relative pronoun
instead of
whom
who
instead of
with
who
formal English.
with formal
When the
English
relative pronoun
when the relative
is
pronouns
not the subject
is not the
of
subject
the verb that follows.
of the verb that follows.
Give me an example. Give me an example, please. The gentleman
The gentleman
whom I contact
whom I
was the
contact
manager.
was the manager.
If you're employed by someone whom you dislike, what would you do? If you're employed by someone whom you dislike, what would you do? If I were employed
If I were
by
employed
someone
by someone
whom I dislike,
whom I dislike,
I'd
I'd
like quit the job.
quit quit the job.
Very good. When we have a preposition at the beginning of a relative clause, can we follow the preposition with the word who? When we have a preposition at the beginning of a relative clause, can we follow the preposition with the word who? No. When we
No,
have
where we
a
have
preposition
a preposition
at the beginning
at the
of
beginning
a relative clause,
of a relative
we
clause,
cannot follow
we cannot
the
follow
preposition
the
with the
preposition
word who.
with the word who.
We must use whom.
We must
Use whom.
use whom.
Very good. Give me an example. Give me an example, please. We need to contact
We need to
the
contact
customer
the
from
customer
whom she took
from whom she
the
took
payment.
the payment.
Very good. Do you know the nationality of all the students with whom you are studying at the moment? Do you know the nationality of all the students with whom you are studying at the moment? Yes or no?
No,
I don't know
I
the
don't know
nationality
the
of
nationality
all the students
of all the
with
students
whom I am
with whom I am
studying at the moment.
studying at the moment.
But in normal spoken English, what do we say instead of we need to contact the customer from whom she took the payment? In normal spoken English, what do we say instead of we need to contact the customer from whom she took the payment? In normal
In
spoken
normal
English,
spoken English,
instead of
instead
we
of
need to contact
we need to
the
contact
customer
the
from
customer
whom she took the
from
payment,
whom she took the payment,
we say we need to
we,
contact
we say we need to
the
contact
customer
the
who she
customer
took the
who
payment
she
from.
took
The
the
payment from.
payment from.
Very good. Okay, so that was the relative pronouns what, whom. Now let's talk about relative pronoun who,
Who
whose.
whose
Very good. Okay,
who
listen. We use the word whose at the beginning of a relative clause instead of using a possessive adjective like my, your, his, etc. For example, instead of saying the woman's purse was stolen, she is on her way to the police station. We can say the woman whose purse was stolen is on her way to the police station. Okay. So I know the people whose house is next to mine. Okay, so let's practice. When do we use the word whose at the beginning of a relative clause? When do we use the word whose at the beginning of a relative clause? We use the
we
word
use
whose
the word
at
whose
the beginning
at the
of
beginning
a relative clause
of a relative
instead
clause
of using
instead of
a
using
possessive adjective
a possessive adjective
like my, your,
like my,
his,
your,
etc.
his, etc.
Give me an example. Give me an example, please. The woman
The woman
whose purse was stolen
whose purse was
is
stolen
on her way
is on her
to the
way
police station.
to the police station.
Okay, very good. So